Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is FPL Elma, and today I'm going to be going through my game week one first draft. It's been a minute, it's been long. I hope you're all doing well, all excited for the comeback of FPL. I'd like to thank you all of you for the support last season on the channel. It was really good, and I hope that you can be able to continue that same support throughout this year. So before we get into the video, if you are new around here, make sure you subscribe, and if you enjoy the content, make sure you leave a like. It really helps out the channel. So without wasting any much time, let's get straight into it. So this is my first draft. It's not yet locked in. It's going to be locked in obviously before the deadline of the game week one, before it starts. I think it's on Friday. So this is how the team is looking like. For in goal, I've gone for Ariola, just because there are rumors circulating that he might be the starting goalkeeper for West Ham come the next season, because Fabianski now is becoming old. I think he's around 37, 38 years old, and it's now time to look for someone fresh who might start being the goalkeeper for West Ham, who of course had a successful season, winning relegation and winning the Conference League. So I think Ariola might be the one stepping into that position, and for 4 million, I think it's a very good option to go for. And then we have Pickford. I know most of you who will have watched last season and seen how Everton were performing poorly, especially defensively last season, and they just managed to beat relegation. But I think from the opening fixtures out of most of the teams, I think they have been chosen like second best in clean sheet probabilities this season. Uh, I mean, that is in like their first four fixtures. I think they play Fulham, Villa, Wolves, and Sheffield, and I think there's a high possibility for a clean sheet. Maybe three of those fixtures, depending with how they're going to do. And with Sean Dyche is very good at making the defending tweaks to teams. So I think that's one thing to look out for. And Pickford makes a lot of saves, so you're guaranteed save points as well. And that's why I've gone for him for 4.5 million. I think that's the standard for this season, having a 9.5 double keeper combination. I think that's a very good strategy to look at. And then now we can go to the actual defenders. We're going to be having Estupinan in there. I think from last season he was very attacking. He also scored some goals at the end of the season. He looked really sharp. And if Brighton come back with the same energy that they had last season, I think they'll be a very exciting team to watch. Estupinan, hope that he's going to perform. And their fixtures are relatively easy. They play Luton, West Ham, and Wolves in their first three fixtures. So I think it's a very good option to have him. If you're having doubts about his starting time, especially with the European competition that they're in right now, I think someone like Dunk could be a really good option, because at least he's going to be guaranteed in all the fixtures without rotation. Then I've gone for Tyrone Mings from Aston Villa. Aston Villa looked really good defensively when they appointed Emery, and Mings was the one who was leading the defense, and they have some very good fixtures as well, and they were solid defensively last season, so that's why I've gone for him there as a cheap enabler at 4.5 million as well, which I think is a very bargain price. Then you have Trent from Liverpool, 8 million. Not really. I think he's quite expensive, and judging from last season, the way the Liverpool ended their season, Trent was in this inverted role in the midfield, and he looked really good. For England, he played in that midfield role, and he also looked really good. The only problem I'm having with Liverpool at the moment is they have tough fixtures in their first opening four fixtures that they play Chelsea, Newcastle, and Villa in their first four fixtures. They only have one easy fixture in those four fixtures. So I think that's one thing I'm considering, and that's why I'm looking at not bringing him in, and maybe going for my other consideration, as you can see there, in Luke Shaw, who has been very attacking for United. And United also have tough fixtures, but I think for the price difference, I'm leaning towards Shaw slightly, and Trent, maybe bring in Trent after the first four fixtures. That's something to look out for. Then you have Botman. I think he was very, very good last season at 4.5 million for Newcastle, who only conceded, I think, the least number of goals in the league. I think it's a bargain price to have him as at 4.5 million. So I'd advise you to go for him if you want that enabler to be able to get the good defenders. Then you have Gabriel from Arsenal. I think Gabriel is really, really good. He played, I think, every game in their previous season. He looked really, really good. Never missed a match unless he was injured. So I think it's a very good option. And they have I think, one of the easiest fixtures with Forest, Crystal Palace, and Fulham. So I think it's a very good option, and it's one to consider as well. So we talked about Shaw and Trent. So that's one thing I'm looking at the moment. And then now we can move on to the midfielders, where I'm going to be having Mitoma at 6.5 million. I think for Brighton midfielders, it's for you to choose who you want to pick because they're all the same prices. Mitoma, Pascal Gross, and March, they're all the same price. So it's just who you want. And for me, I think Mitoma is the one who excited me the most last season. And that's why I think I might be leaning towards him a little bit. But March is a very close second because he also looked really, really good last season. Then you have Bukayo Saka. We all know what Saka can do. He was the most consistent Arsenal player last season, and I think that's why I'm going to be going for him. Odegaard is not that far off from Saka, but I think for consistency and for maximum minutes, I think Saka will be the best option. Since now they have the Champions League and they also have to put their main players in that, I think Saka will be playing a lot of matches compared to Odegaard and Martinelli. I think that's why I've gone for Saka. Then you have Foden, who I think is just a differential I've had in there. He missed the majority of last season with injury, but you could see when he played really, really well, and that's why I've gone for him. And I hope that he'll be able to perform, especially the likes of Mahrez leaving, Gundogan leaving. Maybe he might be the one to lead the line from the right, from the midfield. So that's something to look at, and that's the differential I'll be having in the team at the moment. Then you have Rashford at 9 million. Although United have tough fixtures, as I mentioned about Luke Shaw. They play Spurs, Arsenal away in their first 4 fixtures, and we all know that United struggled away from home last season. I think they didn't win any match against the top 9 teams away. So that's something to look at, and hope that they can be able to rectify it in the season. Rashford was on fire, and I hope that it's going to be very, very good this season as well. Then you have Mbeumo, who I think has been put out of position by the FPL guys, which I think will be advantageous to many of us. We all know that Tony is suspended until next year, and Mbeumo was scoring a lot of goals when Tony was out. He was the striker alongside Wissa, who I think is also a very good option. So Mbeumo, I hope that he'll be able to perform, and I think they have easy fixtures as well. So that's something to look at, especially at 6.5 million. I think that's a very, very cheap bargain. And the other consideration, of course, is Salah. We all know what Salah does, season in, season out, always producing bangers and Mr. Consistency, as people call him in the FPL side. I think he's also a very good option. If you can be able to fit him into the team, I think that's someone you should be going for and have 2 premium players. I'm going to be doing a draft, I think, next week or maybe before the end of this week with 2 premium players. So stay tuned for that. Hit that notification button so that you don't miss when that video goes live. And then next we can finish off the team with the forwards, the strikers, the leading line of the team. Of course, you have to have this guy in your team, no matter what. Even if he was 20 million, you just have to have him in your team because you know he's going to decide a lot of tables. Everyone is going to own him, so make sure you're in that bandwagon and own him. That is Haaland, 14 million. I think you should just go for him, the best striker in the league last season. And I think he's going to be very, very good. He's going to score a lot of goals again. And Man City is just going to be unstoppable again with this guy up top. So Haaland is the main man. He's going to be in the team. Then we have Jesus, 8 million. I think Arsenal, I think he's the best striker for Arsenal at the moment. Arsenal was scoring a lot of goals last season, especially early on, and Jesus was on form before he picked up that injury. So we hope that he's going to be able to continue that form before he picked up the injury and come back with a bang. And maybe Arsenal might challenge Man City for the title. Arsenal are cooking something, and I think it's going to be exciting to watch them this season. Then we have Archer from Aston Villa, just an enabler, 4.5 million. You can pick anyone you want. I've gone for him, and I hope that he's going to be starting, and I hope that he'll get a move to the likes of Luton or those teams that are promoted and maybe be the starter for them. All you can do is just hope, but for now, it's just going to be an enabler on the bench for 4.5 million. Then the other consideration is Mr. Kane. Kane has been performing really, really well. Last season, the difference between Kane and Haaland, I think, was like 10 points or 9 points, which I think was really, really, really close. And most people are not even talking about Harry Kane. At 12.5 million, I think is a bargain. If you don't want to go for Haaland, you could take a risk and go for Kane. And I think the output will just be the same. Kane also scores goals for fun, get a lot of bonus points, get assists. So I think it's a very, very decent option to have. So guys, that is the team I've gone for. That is my first draft. Obviously, I'll be making some tweaks here and there. I'm also going to be posting for you guys, as I've mentioned, a team with Haaland, Salah, and the likes of Trent in there, and see how it's going to perform. And so if you guys want premium guys, I'm going to put that video up for you. So make sure you leave a like on this video. And thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you all guys later. Bye bye.